Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to touch briefly on the different types of off-page optimization techniques you can use, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about off-page optimization and a few little tips and pointers that I've found over my time of SEOing sites. So the first thing is really about making sure you don't keep all of your eggs in one basket. And what I mean when I'm saying that is if you're using one specific off-page optimization technique in order to rank a client, or to rank your own website, then it's time for you to start looking at other ways of doing it. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is in the most recent Panda update, which happened in March 2011, one of the style and or niche and or type of websites that were affected by the Panda update were article houses. So people that were using article marketing, a lot of their different websites were actually impacted by it. Specifically, people that were SEOing using article houses like ezine articles. And you had people that had uploaded hundreds and hundreds of articles on there over a period of time, and they had actually optimized their articles quite well, and they had their link going back to the website in the footer. And as a result, they did suffer. And I actually started working with the client, shortly after the Panda update, because their site was affected as a result of using article marketing as their primary method. So with that in mind, it's important that you don't keep all your eggs in one basket and you use a variety of different techniques. Now, you also understand that when you're doing off-page optimization, that you use different techniques for different purposes. So if you're looking at, let's say, for instance, getting a page indexed, there's a different technique that you'd follow than you're then getting a page actually ranked. So now, and if it's very, very low competition, obviously just by getting it indexed, you're obviously going to be able to get it ranked. So but there's a different technique that you use depending on what you're actually looking at achieving. And you use a combination of descriptive links. So if you're looking at ranking a site, rather than using a single keyword that you're looking at ranking for, and certainly you'll be focused on getting a particular keyword up there, but you should mix it up a little bit. And depending on the techniques that you're using, that will happen just as a natural result. My meaning behind that is that there are some websites that you deal with, and they don't actually allow you to use a descriptive link to linking back to your site or a descriptive URL. You're placed in a position where you can use the domain name that you're actually linking back, which definitely can have merit in the right context, or you are looking at using your name itself. So it's important to make sure that you are using a combination of descriptive links. And finally, stay away from black hat techniques. I talk to a lot of people about this, and every time someone comes to me and they explain like a little dodgy technique that they used, and I explain to them, hey, how long is that going to last for, and before Google finds out and you get blacklisted? And that's really the key thing is think about it. Google have a massive workforce and a massive structure in place in order to keep an eye on people that are using black hat techniques, but also to make sure they're providing the best search engine results when someone's typing their search into the search engine box at the very top of Google. So it's important to know that they're keeping an eye on that sort of stuff. And back in 2003, Google employed one of the guys who was the most advanced in artificial intelligence, and they started teaching Google how to understand certain different algorithms and techniques, with the ultimate objective of Google being able to think for itself. So if you're mucking around with that sort of stuff, they will find out, and they will get you will get blacklisted. And again, I've come across that many a time when I'm looking at sites that people actually get physically blacklisted, and then you spend 6 to 12 months working really hard on the site, getting it out of the sandbox, or getting it from blacklisted into the sandbox, and then getting it from the sandbox actually ranking. So if we have a look briefly at the different types of off-page resources or techniques that we're using to rank clients, and you can use for your site, pinging. And pinging is essentially a way of getting a page indexed or acknowledged by Google. Social bookmarking, which we'll cover as well. Article posting, which is what I was mentioning beforehand, that a lot of people did suffer as a result of, but still a very, very good method of link building and off-page optimization. Press releases, another very good method. link wheels, and we'll touch and talk briefly on link wheels, and whether or not it's something that you think is worthwhile or valuable. The Google, during the Panda update, have penalized a lot of people using link wheels in the process itself. I have used, I'd say that link wheels are going to grey hat, and I've used link wheels previously for some of my own stuff, never used it for a client, so none of my clients were ever affected by it. So, but we'll touch on that later in a later video anyway. High PR backlinks, and I'll show you a technique that I've used to work on boosting up the page rank of a site by using high PR backlinks. And it's a manual process that's performed by a person, but by following the process, you're not using link packets, and link packets are essentially a whole bunch of links that have been released into the general public, and they get really widely and massively smashed and used, and over a short period of time they become totally useless. Panda-friendly links, and this is really in making sure that when you're setting up what you're doing, we'll touch on it, but it's really in making sure what you're setting up, what you're doing is legit, and you're going and you're protecting yourself for future updates that Google do. Age domains, and a lot of people haven't had experience in this, but this is something that I've also played around with. I currently have around about 50 age domains that I've collected over a period of time to use for different purposes, and we'll touch on it briefly, and whether or not it's something viable that you may want to look at using somewhere down the track. And other advanced link building techniques, and we'll touch on that in a single video, just discussing a few other techniques that we have used or that we've played around with, and whether or not they're viable, and at what point in time you actually use those. So let's continue on, and we'll look at the first video.